Hi, my name is Dillon Rovere. For the next few minutes, I'll be taking you through a brief lesson in African hand drumming, as well as introduce you to a popular music style played in Africa called Kuku. I'll start off by explaining the value and importance of music in the African culture. As I'm sure you know, Africa is a very diverse continent. It has anywhere between 2,000 and 3,000 known languages and up to 8,000 dialects. Now, this can obviously make communication very difficult from region to region, and in some instances, even from village to village. But the one language everyone does understand is the language of music. And in Africa, music truly is a language. It accompanies everyday life and is always being played from sunup till sundown. It's used to tell stories and, even more importantly, pass down history from generation to generation. Probably the most prominent instrument in Africa are the drums. They've been played for thousands of years and have adapted to the changing of times, as well as the introduction of import and export with foreign countries. Now, originally the drums would have been carved from one large piece of wood. They'd carve the drum to the desired shape, hollow out the center, leaving a hole at the bottom and a hole at the top. At the top, they'd stretch animal skin over it and hold it in place with either hammering wood pegs or tying it to the drum using a series of ropes and complex knots. Now, as Africa began to import and export, they began using the shipping barrels and modifying them in the drums, because, let's face it, it's much easier to do that than to carve an entire drum from one large piece of wood. Also, with importing and exporting came an abundance of steel into Africa, which introduced the steel bell into African music. This drum here is called a djembe, and it's spelled D-J-E-M-B-E. The D is actually silent. Even though some people will pronounce it the djembe, it's actually just pronounced djembe. And this one's more American-made and very modern. The tuning system is made up of a metal rim that's held in place with these tension rods, just like a modern-day drum set. In Africa, these drums are still made by carving it from one large piece of wood, and the animal skin heads are still tied to the drum using a complex roping system. I'll now go over the 3 strokes involved with African hand drumming. First off is the bass stroke, or bass tone. Now to get this sound, I'm going to take your hand and sort of cup it, and you can flip it over and just play like that. You want to make sure the entire outside edge of your hand is sitting on the drum. And you want to always play in the center when you're playing bass tones, because it'll give you the most consistent and low-end sound. I've seen some people play bass tones with a fist, like that. It's really up to preference, whichever feels better for you. I prefer this way, because it's easier to get from a bass tone to a regular tone, which is the next stroke. So, tone. You get this sound by playing with the pads of your fingers on the edge of the drum, about 2 inches toward the edge. So again, bass, tone, bass and tone together. The third and probably most difficult stroke is called the slap. Now this can take many players years and years to get down and really master. I'll do it slow and first. Now if you noticed, the bottom of my palm actually connects with the drum first. That kind of connects to the edge, and then the fingers whip down in a whipping motion. So fast it sounds like this. So once again, the 3 strokes: bass, tone, and slap. Now, all those strokes I just played can be played open or closed. Open, you let the sound ring out. Closed, you play it muted like this. So that's a closed bass. Open, closed. You can do it with the same other 2. Open tone, closed tone. Now, it might not sound like an appealing sound, but it comes into comes into play later when you start playing other rhythms. And the slap, it's very hard to do closed and get a good sound. But that's essentially it. So now I'll just play a little rhythm showing you some of the tones. So that's a quick little rundown of the 3 strokes. Now the music we're going to be talking about today is called Kuku. It's been played mostly in West Africa, primarily on the Ivory Coast and in Guinea. This rhythm is traditionally played for celebrations and full moon ceremonies, but it's becoming more popular here in the States just for pure entertainment pleasure. Now, there's a few djembe parts, and the song always starts with a call. The call is a two-phrase rhythm that starts the rhythm, ends the rhythm, and it changes the rhythm. So here's the call right here. Here's the pulse. So that's what they play in order to start the rhythm, to alert everyone that it's about to start. So I'll play for you the 3 djembe rhythms. Here's the first. It starts out with a bass stroke, 2 tones, and then a slap. So it sounds like this. Slow, it's like this. So that was the first rhythm, and I ended it with the call. It's good to get the sound of the call in your head, that way you know every time the rhythm's changing and when the song is about to end. So the second djembe part goes like this. Starts with a slap, then a bass stroke, and then 2 tones. So here it is again. I'm going to keep playing the call at the end of the rhythm just so you get a better feel for it. And the third and last djembe rhythm goes like this. I'll start it with the call this time. So those are essentially the 3 parts with the call. Now, I'm going to play through them, starting with the call, playing the call in between each rhythm, and then I'll end with it. So I'll give you the pulse first. If you want, you can try and keep this pulse going in order to know where you are in the song. Alright, here we go. Kuku. So there you go. That was a quick rundown of Kuku. You can find tons of videos online of a bunch of people teaching and just playing the rhythm. If you'd like to look more for it, it's spelled K-U-K-U. And you can just search Kuku or West African Ensemble, Kuku, whatever you want, African hand drumming, djembe. They'll all bring you to essentially the same videos. Once again, my name's Dillon Rovere. Thanks for listening, and I hope you learned something.